Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Total Fitness Wednesday. And today's routine is called Voodoo. We'll be sticking a pin in each muscle group. We're doing a lot of isometric holds today, focusing on each area. You'll need some light hand weights and dumbbells, and a kettlebell, a little bit heavier for some swings. Okay, I'll go through the details shortly. As usual, let's get warmed up first. Okay. EMOM template, every minute on the minute, okay? And we're doing like EMOM duos, 2 exercises within 8 minutes, so 4 rounds of 2 exercises. The first minute is always a rep count, okay? And in the second minute, you're doing an isometric hold for 40 seconds, where you get 20 seconds rest at the end of the minute, and then we go back to minute 1. So we've got a theme on each one, so we're going to isometric squeeze on each area, so you've got to push all the legs and the core, etc. So the first combination, minute 1, you do plyo lunges. Now how many you do is up to you, okay? It's always quite hard to start plyo lunges, I feel. Generally need to get a bit of loosening up. So if you'd rather just do your first set, just do some real lunges, that's fine. Okay? What you want to go for is 30 to 15 each side, okay? Legs for the last few days. That's the thing, those first few reps are quite tough. So you want to normal, just do some normal lunges. Perhaps do 20 reps, okay? I'll leave it with you. So 30 reps advanced, 20 reps if you want to just scale it down a bit. Minute 2, we're focusing on pull first today. So you got some light hand weights, and you're going to do an isometric prone fly. So you've got to get a good hinge to perfect this one. So soften the knees, push them out. I'm going to allow this a lot, but once it's in there, it'll transform your movement patterns forever. So that, which is really the glutes, those muscles here that are doing that. So you engage the glutes, then your hips need to go back, sort of stick your bum out behind you. Yeah, chest comes down, so you get into this position. And the dumbbells, which are hanging here, need to come up. And you're just going to hold them there. Squeeze your shoulder blades together for 40 seconds. If it gets too much, you can always either lighten the load or put them down and just squeeze with the weight in your own arms. Because even that will still work, okay? So if you do reach failure, with the weight, just drop and carry on. Okay, so 30 plyo lunges, minute 1, 40-second isometric hold on minute 2, 4 rounds. Remember though, if you want to just do some real lunges, particularly for that first set to warm up, that's fine. If you want to scale the reps down again, that's fine as well. Okay. So each combination there is 8 minutes. So minute 1, you lunge it down, here we go. 3, 2, Right. Moving on. Same principle, same template. We're now doing the other way around, so we're doing our legs isometrically. Okay, and we're doing squat thrust press ups on the first minute. Again, you can choose your reps up to the point. It depends on your press up speed. So I'm going to go for 15. That is quite advanced. I suggest 10, 12, or less is a reasonable aim. As long as you work until about 40 seconds. Okay, so that one we did yesterday. Okay, press and squat thrust. Okay, make sure you're engaging the lats and pull your shoulders down. Okay, heel of your hand level with the lower chest, not up here. Be there, look. Okay, lower chest. Okay, press up, squat thrust. Somewhere between 8 and 15. Okay, and then we do an isometric squat. 40 seconds. I'm going to use the dumbbells. You don't have to. Just helps you keep upright, or can help you, makes you. It's much tougher. But you can do them free if you want to. Again, that's up to you. In fact, if you're new to this, you definitely don't want that way. You want to master that isometric squat. Remember, the isometric holds give you a chance to work on the movement that you're doing. So for squats, really think about that form. Just sit into that gap, your knees are coming over the toe and out. 90 degrees, and then you're just gently pressing the knees out. Head and chest high, look straight ahead. Okay? And as long as you're getting that as close as you can to that, you're going to keep improving. And your squats will improve drastically. Just because you've made you much more than body aware of what's happening when you do regular squats. Well then, here we go. Bear with me. Reset that timer. Right, let's do it then. Press up squat moves. 3, 2.
It's in my arms, even when the night is done.
back of the legs. We're going to hold isometrically on the chest now. So what you're going to do is 20 step back swings on minute 1. Now, if you're still mastering normal swings, stick with normal swings. Only do any, because there's lots of swing variations, but only move to them when you're confident with your standard Russian swing. Okay, so if you're still mastering that, stay with it. Okay? That's what I call the thigh triangle. Okay? You need to hinge your hips so the kettlebell goes through the thigh triangle. So there, pull it through the triangle and it stays. That's it. Never should be there. It's always look there. So it almost hits your bum when you're going in. And you just drive the hips. That's it. It's a hinge again. Okay? Same thing. So back step swing. While it's weightless, just going to take a step back in. Okay, just adds a little bit. There, back. Left. Right. Not a lunge, just certainly wouldn't be looking to go knee to floor. Just a rear step. Okay? So it does add a lot to it. Coordination, neural pathways, and it is just that a little bit more cardio. Okay, so remember you do it while it's weightless. Back in, come back. Okay? 20 reps. And then your isometric hold this time is the crucifix. So chest and abs really. Predominantly I want to work chest. So if the abs gets too much, drop your feet. So what I mean is, exactly like it says on the tin, you're in a crucifix position. So you just want to lift your elbows off the floor. So you've got a soft bend in your arm. Nothing like this. Just soft. You're not locked out, is what I'm saying. The lower to the floor you are, the better. The more it's going to work your chest. Then, when you lifted your head and shoulders up, squeeze the glutes and lift the legs as well if you can. So it's right the way through the torso, getting into the core. If that gets too much, put them down. Just hold the chest and the shoulders up, keep the tension across the chest. Because that's the primary target here, because we've got an ab finisher anyway. Right, so there's your 2. Let's do it. Step back into swing. Start with a little step. Okay? Right, here we go. 20 reps. 20 Okay. Step back swings. Let's try for 9 or 10, or maybe 12, okay? So burpee, foot, and then 1, 2. Okay, little tucks. Mini tucks, I'm not expecting to hit the ceiling.
Oh.
Okay, just a little,
Very generous of you.
2 little jumps. And then your isometric hold this time is arms. And we're going to finish with that, for the finisher. So 40 seconds. You're going to hold it there, okay? 90 degrees. So you want to light the kettlebell or hold your 2 dumbbells together. Okay. Right, we just come on. We've got a little finisher as well. Okay. Let's do that. Okay. Are you ready then? Burpees first. 3, 2,
'Cause
There's the sign. Right, last one. Okay. Voodoo plays, and you're going to try and do a little descending ladder. Okay. Down. 16. And drop by 2. So, 16 sit-ups. Strict if you can. Keep your hands glued to your temples. And then 16 marching plank. Okay, in total that is. Okay, then 14, 14. Okay, 12, 12, 10, 10, 8, 8, 6, 6. Okay. Alright. So that's what you're doing. 2 reps all the way down. Sorry, 16 reps all the way down. When you get to the end, you're just going to hold a regular plank till the track finishes. So there's no point rushing. Now you can cheat on your sit-up, by all means, throw your hands forward if you want to, put your feet out. That's okay. But if you do that, you end up finishing really early, there's probably no need to do that. You probably want to do a bit stricter. Okay? But don't forget, you've only got the plank waiting for you at the end. Okay, so there's no real stopping as such. Okay. Right. You ready there? 16, 16, 14, 14, and so on. So on. 3, 2, 1. We've got 6 minutes. Roxy and Blackmore over to Blatter and Rubber Band Man. See you for that. All in 2 minutes.